When he shows up at my door, I can tell he's been crying. He asks me if I've seen the news, but before I can reply, he's kicked off his shoes and jumped into my bed. The moment I sit with him, he bends toward me like a tree that's been whipped by the wind, finally given in and no longer able to stand, so I use my hands like a splint, wrapping around his broken body, holding tired limbs in place, encasing his chestnut splintered skin as best as my olive arms can, and I tell him, sweetheart, you are a forest, branching out and growing, knowing that even when you were devastated, you were created with the ability to be reborn. So let us mourn the loss of your kin, those that have been torn down for centuries by men and women who were determined to eradicate your species, clear-cutting entire families and selling them off in bundles like trees dressed in chains, beating them to a pulp and then using them to write their future on. This beautiful man with skin like a maple crumbles in my arms, sparks fire in me that I long to extinguish, rests cinnamon cheek on my pale chest, and I do my best impression of a boat trying to keep calm during a storm. My hands swab the deck of his cheekbones while we mourn the deaths of those souls we never got a chance to meet, keeping far too many open tabs in our minds and still unable to find an answer as to why the justice system that was set to serve and protect neglects entire races. His breath becomes reckless wind song, muddy eyes, puddles I long to dive into, thick hair, a trail all too familiar to my fingertips, lips like graves, resting places, making me feel like I could be still for all of eternity if he'd be on the other end. We lay in bed like two fallen trees that don't give a fuck that no one else is around. We know we're loud enough to be heard. I catch my tears before they land on his skin like rainfall, stopping them from alerting him that I'm hurting too because I have to be strong for us, so I get lost in this forest of a man who's been able to withstand pain on a frequency my white privilege has afforded me the luxury of never receiving. When he's finally sleeping, the embers in me still burn, so I purge perturbed ash and rub it on pale skin, longing to become chameleon, but this fair flesh is the vessel I was deposited in, and that will never change. I wonder who came up with the word race to describe different groups of people, because a race is a competition, a rivalry. I looked it up in the dictionary, and under the verbs category, I read things like contend, run, hurry, sprint, charge, beat, rapidly, shoot. But I guess it's kind of accurate because at a race, someone always loses.